listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
Hey, what's good, family? Welcome to another edition of the Narrative Podcast. The Narrative Podcast is the home of original people peace, original people reciprocity, and original people positivity. The Narrative Podcast promotes positive reinforcement of original people and original people culture. Welcome to the Narrative Podcast. Welcome all my narrators. I'm your host, Halsey Allen. How's everybody doing on this terrific Tuesday? This year is just flying by. I think the children are, the first week of school is next week. So, classes start at all grade levels next week. If I'm not mistaken, I could be out of the loop, but yeah. But this year is flying by really quickly. Whole lot of strange activities happening. Earthquakes quaking. I've been seeing like the latest little quake. Is it natural or unnatural? Well, I don't really have any input about that, but welcome to the Narrative Podcast. Just trying to get interpersonal with the listening audience before diving into the contents. So, for the new people unfamiliar with me and my platform, how this usually goes, before I dive into the content, I give a brief overview of the Narrative Podcast and just kind of brief you about all the nuances you need to be aware of so you can fully digest my content and be up to speed about what it is I do here and what I'm trying to accomplish in this space that I occupy. So without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and dive right on into the synopsis of the Narrative Podcast before diving into the content this evening. So let's start at the top. Tippy, the name, Narrative Podcast. I named my podcast the Narrative Podcast because I don't like the false narrative that the media weaves about original people and original people culture. So what I wanted to do to counter that is design my own platform to capture my people and my culture in a positive light, highlight and showcase us at our best and instead of at our worst as the media does. So what the media does is they intentionally vilify our people. They intentionally, corrupt our images and our likenesses to push their agenda. So what I want to do is just to do the exact opposite of what they do and just uplift and edify my people and just celebrate all that we're doing correct. We already know all the things that we need to work on. Yes, we have problems in our community, but it doesn't need to be just sensationalized the way the media does. So, that's the whole purpose of the Narrative Podcast is to uplift and edify our people and celebrate, everything we're doing right and just deliver positive reinforcement and encourage solidarity and encourage unity. So having said that, I think that's the perfect segue to my tagline. The Narrative Podcast, changing the narrative one episode at a time by destroying negative stereotypes about original people and original people culture. How do I destroy the negative stereotypes about our people and our culture? By providing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. Hence the title, The Narrative Podcast. So, yeah, that's essentially, what I'm here for. I'm here to inform, educate, entertain, uplift, and edify our people, original people, with this content. I'm also here to spread awareness to, why it's important to responsibly use your platforms to tell stories about our people and our culture. And I'm also here to encourage people, especially people within our culture, to responsibly use their platforms to uplift and edify our people by putting out positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. So, that's the mission statement of the Narrative Podcast. Is just to spread awareness and encourage people to responsibly use your platforms to put out positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. And so why should you, put out positive frames of reference about our people and our culture? Because the media is very polarizing with the imagery that they put out. It's basically like, they're programming and conditioning people's minds to, subscribe to their agenda. They turn people against each other. They warp and skew everybody's judgment. So in essence, to, put out positive frames of reference, what you would be doing is just putting out telling our stories accurately. Which brings me to my next point. I refer to my people, my target listening audience, as my narrators. And the reason why I call my target listening audience my narrators is just really to acknowledge the times that we're living in. We're living in the digital information age. So, with all this access to information, people are networking and sharing their stories online. And that's basically how we communicate. And so that's this digital information age, like everybody has some form of media, whether you do it to socialize or whether you do it to enhance your business. If you're trying online selling product, or if you're just on socializing, if you want to talk to people, whatever, people use, the digital media to, tell or narrate a story. Like every digital platform has a bio section, and usually in the bio section, people, fill it out accordingly. They, make sure they include all their hobbies, their interests, their turn-ons, turns-offs, inspirational quotes, taglines, just any helpful thing that will enhance their experience online. Basically, anything that will help them convey their thoughts, or tell or narrate their own stories about themselves. And not only do they do that with the bio section, they also do it with the type of content they're uploading. And you see, typically when people get online, they want to show the world the best possible version of themselves. So they spend a lot of time choosing content to complement, their bio. They want out to put out the best examples of, what they're interested in or what they believe in, or if it's a business, what they're trying to sell you. Nobody puts out the worst possible versions of themselves intentionally. Well, let me rephrase. There's an exception to the rules. There's a few miserable people out there to get online solely to complain and just got that woe is me energy. I'm in the hospital today. It's not working out for me. This ain't working out for me. This ain't going my way. That's not going my way. I had a setback. And, there's people online like that, but for the most part, everybody wants to, show the best possible version of themselves. They want to let the world know that they're living life and living life abundantly. They're having fun. If they got some real fine material things. I got a real fancy car. I got a lot of money. I got, I do this, I do that. I'm active. I'm an extrovert. I like doing this and that, and upload contents to reflect that, to reflect everything that they're into or everything that they say they're into. So, some people exaggerate. This new generation calls it capping when you exaggerate, but essentially everybody's putting out the best possible version of themselves. Nobody puts out a bad version of themselves online intentionally. Some people, uploading photos, they forget to check the background. I'm But for the most part, everybody puts out the best possible version of themselves. And so that's what I feel we as a people, original people, we need to be putting out the best possible versions of ourselves. And what are the best possible versions of ourselves? The versions that reflect us in our true nature, who we truly are as a people. Who are we truly as a people? We're kings and queens, gods and goddesses of the universe, and everything we need to put out, everything, all imagery and all content that we put out into the universe needs to be reflective of that at all times, because the media constantly puts out negative frames of reference about our people and our culture. And the last thing we need to do as a people is regurgitate and reinforce these negative stereotypes by regurgitating them online. We don't need to be putting out, the image of the gangbanger, the image of the crook, the image of, the hustler, the image of the drug addict, the drug user, no imagery that embodies criminality of any kind, no imagery that embodies degeneracy of any kind. We upright people, we have dignity, we are intelligent, we're astute, we're highly adaptable, we're strong, we're prideful. We need to be putting out images, reflective of that, and not embracing these negative stereotypes, not embracing, sisters embracing the angry black woman stereotype, or embracing the whore stereotype, or the thought stereotype. We need to be, embracing our true nature. So we need to be putting out content that's reflective of, we are good parents. We're good. We're active in our communities. We are change makers. We're problem solvers. We're resilient. We love getting along with each other. We love unifying and we love uniting. And coming together to solve problems instead of always at war with one another. Those are the images of ourselves we need to be putting out. So yeah, that's what I mean when I call my target audience my narrators. It's just basically telling or narrating our own stories. And if history hasn't taught us anything, it's taught us this. If you don't tell your own story will be told for you. So yeah, that's why we need to take that power back from the media and tell our own stories. Now don't get me wrong, this platform isn't about caring, what people outside of our culture think about us, how they perceive us. It's not about enlightening them, it's just basically setting the record straight. If you're going to tell our story, you're going to tell our story correctly. That's why I call my target audience my narrators. Just, a family telling our own stories. So the next thing you need to be aware about the Narrator podcast, this is a positive space. I don't engage in any negativity, no gossip, no slanderous content. I don't drag my brothers and sisters' names through the mud intentionally. Like I said, this is a positive platform just used to uplift, edify our people by providing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. That's my main focal point on here. I don't got time for the nonsense, and I encourage my listening audience not to make time in their personal lives for the nonsense, because the media has a horrible, wicked agenda when it comes to portraying our people's images and our likenesses. But at the end of the day, the media, even though it's governed by evil, wicked people with an evil, wicked agenda, at the end of the day, it's a business. And the first rule of business is supply and demand. So if we don't supply them with negative content, or supply them with evidence that we're interested in viewing, partaking in, or patronizing negative imagery or content of any kind, they'll stop supplying it. They'll stop making these crappy movies, crappy television shows, crappy advertisements, crappy pieces of literature, movie or books, periodicals, and other forms of media negatively portraying our people. So it's not the end-all, be-all solution, but we can shift the narrative that way by not, refraining from entertaining the entertainment, if you get my meaning. So yeah, this is a positive space. No foolishness, no gossip, no slander. I do have fun on here. I cracked a little joke here, a little jokey joke here and there, but never really at anybody's expense. Like I said, I'm here to uplift and edify my people and encourage all my listening audience to do the same. However, this is a place of truth. And if I feel like somebody in our communities intentionally using their platform to, project or, play up these negative stereotypes in order to garner monetary gain, I will call said individual out for doing that. But other than that, uplift, edify, mind my own business, mind the business is paying me, which is y'all, my people. So, it's all about the positivity. As a matter of fact, if I ever bring up a famous person's name a celebrity or a public figure within our community, it's never to bash them. It's really just to, bring up a point that I'm making. And when I deliver commentary on this platform, basically, I'm delivering it from the perspective of the bigger picture perspective. While we do as a people, or just, full-grown adults, anybody with some degree of knowledge, we all have to be, held accountable for our own actions, and not blame, things outside of ourselves for any shortcomings we may encounter in life. We have to, take responsibility for our own actions at all times. As full-grown adults, or just, beings with a degree of, knowledge and understanding. But in that same breath, it would be completely folly not to highlight, the root cause of typically all negative things we do in our community. It can really be traced back to systemic oppression and programming and conditioning. Like nearly everything negative that we do within our community, especially how we perceive ourselves, how we interact and engage with one another, and committing crimes against one another, is basically because we've been programmed and conditioned to do so. This is years in the making, really damn near centuries when you think about it. But it was an agenda, and like I said, it's psychological warfare. It goes back to programming and conditioning. So that's why I would only bring up a famous person's name, like whatever's going on with them. If they're somehow a trending topic, whatever negative thing that they're in the news for, in the media, like, I break it down like that. Like, why did that happen? Why did, this person say X, Y, Z? Why did this person do X, Y, Z? I break it down like that. So as I said, like, we can't blame everything on, the powers that shouldn't be. We can't blame everything on the government. We can't blame everything on the white man, air quotes. But, like I said, it would be folly to not acknowledge their role in the deterioration and the destruction of our people, how big a role that they play, and, what they're doing, with the media when it comes to us. Next thing you need to be aware of about the Narrator podcast is a time-sensitive platform. I try not to exceed 1 hour per broadcast, and the reason being, number one, I'm an all-audio platform. So, it's very easy to lose you, because there's so many things that distract us. Like, we got our phones out, and this is happening, that's happening, and I want to basically keep you guys attentive. I want to keep your attention. So basically, I try to keep it short, sweet, to the point. Have a point to, what I'm speaking about. Have speaking points. And thus, that's why I try to time my content. So I'm just not, going on a glorified rant, and I'm not just, going down rabbit holes, or being redundant with my content. So that's why I try not to exceed 1 hour per broadcast. And then last but not least, I know you heard me say it multiple times on this platform, I refer to our people as original people. And who are the original people? Us, African American, Black, Negro, whatever you want to, that we're referred to as scientifically, people possessing the Negroid gene. I refer to our people as original people. Number one, it's historically accurate. And the second reason I refer to our people as original people, because it unifies us as a people. So, on the historical side of it, we were and are, the first people to ever, exist. Everything came from us. We spawned everything. It was here first. We existed first. There's not too much we didn't invent, especially here in the Americas. We pretty much invented every modern day convenience you could think of, and the things that we didn't get credit for in history for inventing is because the slave masters stole the credit. That's why they invented the patent system, so they wouldn't have to give us credit in history for inventing things. But we were the fathers of invention. We were and are the fathers of invention. Like every life-changing invention you can think of, we invented it. We were the original architects. There's not too many structures, historical structures, that we didn't build or had a hand in building. And not just here in America, this is worldwide. As a matter of fact, if you ever want to know our presence anywhere we existed, all you ever have to do is look at the buildings or the artwork or the paintings, sculptures, artwork, buildings, and you will see our presence in it. You will see our hands in it. You will see, sculptures and, paintings resembling our people. So, yeah, that's why I refer to our people as original people from the historical standpoint. And then a quick little thing I want to tack on to that I do every segment. I really got to, dispel this false narrative that keeps on getting put out about our people. They try to make slavery the most poignant, relevant time of our existence. Slavery did happen. Slavery was a real thing. They really did enslave some of us. But the majority of us was already there, especially here in the Americas. The majority of us, like I said, we was here first. So did you think we was just all huddled around in one spot? If we was here, like we didn't get out on our own and explore different territories and travel different places? There's so many different kinds of us hailing for so many different land masses. We didn't get to all them places on slave boats. It's physically impossible. It's scientifically impossible. There's all types of evidence, to point out our original indigenous roots. Like 7 continents. We was on every single last one of them originally, thousands of years before slavery. But yet they just keep on trying to push that narrative that, hundreds of years. They just kept on running back. Europe and Spain and, all the people involved in the slave trade for hundreds of years. They just kept on going back to Africa, getting African slaves for hundreds of years. Now, don't it make more sense that the colonizers enslaved the original indigenous people of the lands that they colonized rather than traveling all the way across the globe, spending buku money for African slaves for hundreds of years? Come on now. But anyway, I just wanted to point out the hypocrisy and the ridiculousness notion of that we all descended from, slave boats rather. So like we were all definitely enslaved, but we didn't all get to, wherever we hail from, whatever landmass we're on, whatever nationality you claim. You got there, your people got there on, the transatlantic slave trade. Like, it's more likely than not, there was already a high concentration of them already residing in that place, and the colonizers came over here and said, hey, let's enslave them people and make them, work for us. But, on to my next point. So yeah, another reason why I refer to our people as original people is to, attempt to unify us as a people. Because we have so many different titles, we refer to ourselves as so many different things, we speak so many different languages, viewpoints, ideologies, but we got a few things in common. Number one, we all have, large concentrations of carbon, aka melanin, residing in us. And we can all trace our lineage back to the original point of origin for all civilization. And then we also have an unspoken bond. So just no matter, where we hail from, we just have that, that deep connection as a people. We have cultural variations and, things that separate us, but when something happens, something like, earth-shattering, we all feel it. We all feel it. So we got that in common. So that's why I refer to our people as original people on the unity side of it. I think I pretty much covered everything you need to know about the Narrator podcast. If I glazed over anything or you're still a little hazy, well, don't feel bad. You're over. I'm over 300 episodes in, so you can listen to all my previously recorded episodes of the Narrator podcast to bring yourself up to speed about me and my platform. So just remember to, download all the previously recorded episodes of the Narrator podcast and this one as soon as I'm done broadcasting. So yeah, without any further ado, I'm gonna dive on into the content. So today is a weekday. I do think I glazed over one thing. I have two different format styles. I have a weekday format style and a weekend format style. Now my weekday format style is a little different because as I said, the goal here on the Narrator podcast is to provide the listeners positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. So during the weekday, the positive frames of reference that I provide about our people and our culture come in the form of positive news articles. And the sole reason of me doing that is to counter, this psychological attack that we're constantly being bombarded by the media with negativity about our community. Like every time you turn on the television, every time you listen to the radio, every time, well, radio, I'm telling my age, but like, every time you listen to, a song, every time you get your information from wherever, like the internet, wherever, it's usually something bad, usually something negative as it pertains to our people. So they're constantly pushing negativity within our community and about our people. They never really show us in a positive light. There's not a whole lot of media platforms that shares uplifting, motivational content about our people and our culture. I think there's probably like one, and it's sad, and it's like usually just like a 15-minute segment, or like not even 15, like 2 or 3 minute segments on Good Morning America. Like every once in a blue moon, they have somebody from our community that's giving back to the community, doing something positive that impacts the world in a positive way. But for the most part, they portray us as criminals. They're always portraying us doing something slanderous, doing something amoral, or they're always capturing us being engaged in some type of degenerate low life activity. So like I said, my platform is dedicated to providing positive frames of reference, and that's why I feel the need to provide positive frames of reference, because the media will have us just believing nothing positive ever happens within our community, that nobody's striving for excellence, and we're all downtrodden, we're all disenfranchised, we're all criminalistic. That's their goal. That's what they want to push. So I'm short-stopping the grind here on the Narrator podcast by providing positive frames of reference about our people. So without any further ado, I'm going to get into this week's positive news articles. And then after my news articles, I usually follow up with some type of commentary. Whatever's trending in the news, whether it's globally, nationally, or just something happening within our community. But we're going to get into these positive news articles. So up first this week, the first positive news article this week on the Narrator podcast. The headline reads, HBCU grad turned black attorney has never lost a trial in 15 years, launches new pop-up museum to celebrate other lawyers and judges of color. I really detest the phrase "of color." It's just kind of a personal annoyance of mine. Like, just say, I'm not fond of black either, but dang, just say black. But anyway, like I said, I try to refer to our people as original people, but if it's in the headline "of color" or black, I read it straight from the source. I'm not going to sub out, black and replace it with original people. But anyway. So the attorney's name is a sister by the name of Tiffany M. Simmons. Tiffany's a former defense litigator and attorney. She's never lost a criminal or civil case in her entire legal career. She's also a former HBCU grad. She attended Florida A&M. And she's currently working on the Lawyer in Me Selfie Museum. The Lawyer in Me is a pop-up museum that offers. Now, the pop-up museum features in and out walls, immersive experiences, and fun activities that visitors can explore with the roles of a lawyer. They can visualize a courtroom and participate in interactive escape from jail challenge. To learn more about the museum, you can be sent to go, To learn more about the museum, you can go to her Tiffany's YouTube channel at Tiffany Simmons, aka The Plug. Also follow her on IG, Tiffany Simmons at The Plug. For press inquiries, contact her at tmsrlaw@gmail.com or call 416-8422. She also has her own firm called Simmons Law LLC, and she's currently a cast member on Street Legal South, which is on Tubi, and then she has her own judge show coming out called Hood Courts. So go support that sister in the Lawyer and Me Pop-Up Museum and all her future projects. Let's give a warm Narrator podcast for our sister, Judge Tiffany M. Simmons, a.k.a. The Plug. Next positive news article on this weekday edition of the Narrator Podcast, the headline reads, Black-owned construction company brings Black Americans back to Africa with state-of-the-art arenas and hotels. And the name of the company is called Choates Holdings. I'm hoping it's Choates and the C's not silent. So Coates is Choates or Coates, CHOATES. They paired with Urban Icon International to develop state-of-the-art sports arenas and luxury hotels across Africa. Their mission is to reconnect Black Americans with the continent. The project costs $812 million and plans to span to several African countries, including Tanzania, Kenya, and integrates cutting-edge technology and sustainable practices to boost local e-commerce and promote tourism. The project also plans to build over 10,000 affordable housing units in Africa and focuses on energy and sustainability. So that's a heck of a project. See, that's my only thing with Pan-Africanism. Like I support it, but like usually the people that represent Pan-Africanism, they always say go back home. They go back home. But they don't got no property over there. They don't have any houses, the ones to be advocating versus just to go back to Africa. The big ones on social media, you know what I mean? I ain't going to say names, but you know, it's all the ways the same ones, but telling you to go back and Go back. But they don't never show you what's over there for you. They don't have no property over there, but they want you to go back. And then, like I said, all of us ain't from there anyway. But that's still a heck of a accomplishment. That is something to really consider, especially in this day and time that we're living in. This era that we're living in. So you definitely want to like an exit plan. Exit strategy, beautiful continent, beautiful scenery, got some cutting edge stuff over there. Why not? So the article didn't say individuals involved; they just said the name of the company. But I'm going to give a warm narrative. Round of applause for Chokes Holding LLC. All right, y'all. Super light bite tonight. Last article for this weekday edition of the Narrator Podcast, the headline reads, 8-year-old partners with her grandmother to launch black-owned skincare brand for kids. And the young sister's name is Sky Monroe, and her grandmother is Cheryl Brown. And the name of the company is called Sky Monroe Skincare. The brand focuses on safe, chemical-free beauty products for children and promotes healthy skincare habits. To find out more about Sky Monroe Skincare, go to SkyMonroeSkincare.com. And then you will see all the information she has about the product. She also has some information, educational information about skincare, how to develop a skincare routine. She has information about harmful chemicals to avoid, and she makes it fun for children close to her age. So go check that out. Sky Monroe Skincare at SkyMonroeSkincare.com. All right, so this is the part of my podcast where I normally have, I take a little delve into, current events, what's happening on and around the world, and, break it down from our perspective, what it means to us, or how we should take it as a people. I don't have a whole lot to talk about tonight because I don't really feel like, there's some pressing issues going on in the world or pressing issues concerning us. So I'm going to be super brief tonight. But, in instances where I just don't have anything at all to talk about, I'll just give a PSA, an observation, something I feel, we should be aware of, and we, and by we I mean me included, as a people, need to work on. And I think tonight's a kind of a combination of both. So I got a couple things I want to talk about, but I'm not going to, even pierce it. So first things first. All right, so I guess the first thing I want to talk about is the Selective Service Bill. And like I said, I'm not going to do a deep delve into it. it is important, but not super important. So basically, there's a lot of misinformation going around saying the draft has started. It's not the draft. When registering for the selective services, it's always been mandatory since the 1980s. So like right when a child in the home, usually a male child, they will have to register for the selective services. Or they say it's against the law, you can't go to jail for it. They've been saying that. So with this new proposed bill, is just going to be just like, they got all your information anyway. Everything's in the system. You're tracked through your social security card number. So as soon as you turn 18, you're already just pre-registered anyway. So generally after you turn 18, they usually send it to you in the mail. And somebody knocks on your door from the service trying to get you to enlist and telling you all the benefits. Like they'll send a recruiter out. They know when you're turning 18 anyway, so is it a super big deal? It's not from my perspective. It's like it always been around. They're not going to like make you go to the armed forces and incarcerate you if you don't want to. Like, it's not none of that. A lot of stuff going around on social media is just like of course, people just overhyping stuff for the clicks and the views, and it's not really as big a deal as everybody's making it seem. It's making it seem like you don't have a choice in the matter of it. And, invasion of privacy and all that is like, it's not nothing new under the sun. Like, selective service registration has been a thing since like the 80s. Like, I remember when I turned 18, like a recruiter came to my house. So like, you can do it that way, or they just send it to you in the mail, fill it out, buy, and tell you the day that it has to be back. So basically what I'm trying to say, they're not gonna like reinstate the draft. It's not gonna happen. Not no time soon. It could happen. Like, we're doing a lot of foul little stuff behind the behind the scenes. It's not totally out of the realm of possibility, but I doubt it. That's all I want to touch on with that one. And the next thing I want to talk about is it's actually going to be like looped. I'm going to talk about this, and then I'm kind of going to loop it to another point that I want to make, and then I'm going to end it, this episode. Just a real quick point. So, well, a couple more things, but I'm going somewhere with it. Just hang on. Our sister Jordan Childs, so she's been asked to relinquish her bronze medal. I don't really keep up with the Olympics all like that, especially gymnastics. Apparently she was doing the floor show. She started late, and the opposing team, they had filed a motion. Then the USA filed a motion to their motion, and now, longer story short, they're trying to relinquish her bronze medal. She didn't even place, first or second. They tripping off bronze. They don't want the sister to have a bronze freaking medal. So, who started off was Romania. They didn't like it for some odd reason. And, which is really, really baffling because nobody from Romania placed third. So why are they worried about it? Well, we know why they're worried about it. They cannot stand losing to us. They can't. The Europeans cannot stand losing to us. And by us, I'm not talking about USA. I'm talking about us, original people. The Europeans cannot stand us. So the fact that you came in last to assist it, at the end of the day, just knock it off, and that's what it's really all about. They can't stand you. They love hip-hop culture. They love the little TikToks and the videos. They like emulating us. But they can't stand us being their superior or us being equal to them in any way. They can't stand it. So we know what that is. Like I said, I ain't going to take a deep delve into it. Like, we already know what's at place with that. And it's sad. It's really sad. So the next thing about the Olympics that I want to address is brother Noah Lyles. He's catching a lot of backlash. The Olympics, I believe, are officially over now anyway, but there's still for some odd reason, a whole lot of us over there partying, which I'm going to address in a second. I think that they ended on the 11th or the 12th or something like that. What's the day? There's the 13th, yeah. So they ended like on the 11th, I believe. 11th or the 12th, one of them. Like I said, I don't really keep up with the Olympics all like that. But, yeah, so he been active on social media saying he got C19, doing uploads that he got C19. And, they let him compete knowing he had C19. That he had been tested positive for C19. And now they're trying to say he was lying, he was exaggerating. Like, look, a setup from the get-up. Because they test these players for recreational drugs, alcohol, and everything else. But you mean they let him go all the way over there knowing he had already contracted C19, and they allowed him to compete knowing he can potentially infect the hotel, the staff, the hotel, all of his teammates, all the opposing teammates. But they allow him to compete. But yet somehow he's catching the blame for competing. Make it make sense, because it don't. Everybody's mad at him for competing and telling the world he got C19, but y'all mad at him for potentially ending his own life because, unless I missed my guess, unless I forgot, isn't that like an upper respiratory thing? And don't you need your lungs to breathe while you're running. He about to lose his life. Y'all mad at him when, the officials could have just not let him compete. They a few years ago they wouldn't let our sister Sha'Carri Richardson compete because they was trying to say she had, marijuana in her system, but then they let a Russian girl that had performance enhancing drugs in her system. So it is what it is, man. But like I said, when I initially analyzed the situation, it's a setup from the get up. Cause what was the thing to shut the world down? C-19, right? Now the first time that it happened, it was the Chinese. We had the orange guy in, it's like China, it's Chinese, China. They did it, and it was spreading all throughout, the whole rest of the world. Now fast forward to the Olympics, a brother got C-19. They want to make him the scapegoat if it triggers all over again. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make him the scapegoat. Because there's all kinds of new strains coming out every single day. No telling which strain he has. So, that's one perspective. But, so wrapping it up, I'm very proud of all, all the competitors from our country, all our brothers and sisters that got there. It was really, it was touching to see them. We definitely was all rooting for them. If you couldn't actually be to Paris, you was watching, television, whatever your favorite event of the Olympics was, and, being with them in solidarity. But, it's heartbreaking at the same time, too. Yeah, because it's heartbreaking because all our young brothers and sisters that competed in those games, they endured so much, they was going through so much just to get there. During training, that led, that got them all the way to the Olympics. Each one of them competing, for their own reasons, whether it's, for their family, for their neighborhoods, for a memory of a loved one. They all had their own individual, thing that they was competing for. And it's beautiful to say the least. Real compelling, real inspirational and motivational. But I gotta say, I've never been more disappointed in our brothers and sisters at the Olympics this year. And not for their performance, not at all. Not for their performance, but the way they performed, about the way they handled themselves, about the way they carried and conducted themselves. I'm disappointed that they didn't use that opportunity, not just to, compete in the sport that they were competing against, but the opportunity to bring things into perspective about what's going on over here in America. Now, I say time and time again, I personally don't expect anything from entertainers. I personally don't expect an entertainer to do anything other than entertain. I personally don't expect an athlete to do anything other than, perform athletically. Whatever, their sport of choice is, I don't expect nothing. I don't expect anything, from a recording artist other than, producing music, no matter what musical genre. I don't expect any entertainers to be tapped in socially. I don't expect that. If your heart ain't in it, your heart ain't in it. I'd rather, people be honest. I'm not on that. I'm not thinking about that. Then try to fake like they are down with, the liberation, the movement, being down with the cause, and then really deep down inside not. Just a big fraud behind closed doors. But said all that to say, I gotta say I'm a little disappointed to all my brothers and sisters that competed in, the Olympic Games. Because nearly all of them were super duper active on social media from the time that it started to the time it wrapped. But not near one of them said nothing about Sonya Macy or Roger Fortson. Not near one of them. And that's a tragedy in America, a big tragedy, because we sat there and we watched that as a nation. These people were sitting in their home, not bothering nobody. So like I said, I don't expect, them from, as entertainer, like, technically an athlete is an entertainer because they're keeping us entertained, which is kind of the purpose of the Olympics. Because, like, look at all this stuff that's happening in the world, or was happening in the world while they were competing. That's the whole purpose of it. When it's a throwback all the way to the, the Roman Empire. That's why they came up with the games, to distract the people from affairs of state. But I'm disappointed because in our bright young people didn't know, what's going on in the world. I'm disappointed that not near one of them, when they won their medal, after they thanked their almighty creator, after they thanked their parents and their coaches, and not near one of them, slipped in the message about, our brother Roger Fortson or Sonya Macy. And not just them, celebrities in attendance, people that hosted the game, they didn't say nothing. I know everybody's trying to get the bag, but damn it, stand on something. Stand on something. We sitting up there putting on the show for people that hate us. That's the hugest platform to bring awareness to what we got to go through as a people. If you didn't want to say nothing, you could have wore a T-shirt, Sonya Macy, R.I.P. Roger Fortson, something to bring awareness to it. Like, it's like we done just slipped on the morals. Like we glorifying and we worshiping, false idols. Like that's all we worried about is getting that bag, getting to the bag, the endorsements, the bag. I'm going to end it on this. 1968, when the Olympics were held in Mexico. USA team, they get to the podium. We know the social fabric of America in the 60s, what they was going through in America, and then what they had to endure while in Mexico. Man, the call went out and the fist went up. The call went out and the fist went up. But this year, at 2024, with all this, this technology, with all these social media platforms, not near competing competitor in America said nothing about that. I know, like I said, I don't expect a whole lot from entertainers other than to entertain, but come on, bro. We out here dying. So that's cool. Y'all got some medals. That's real cool that y'all got some endorsements. But don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget it. You can't forget it. Because it can happen to you too. Because in case y'all forget, they don't give a damn about them gold medals. They don't care about your endorsements. They don't care about none of that. When they're ready for you, they're coming for you. And not just the the athletes, but all the entertainers that were present for the Olympics. I know y'all got families to feed and stuff going through your mind too, but I'm just saying, that would have been the perfect platform to bring focus on those two incidences within our country. Another big disappointing thing I have for our people is man, we gotta bridge this gap between us. Because one thing I noticed, the American blacks, people from the USA, the black people from the USA, they rooted for Haiti. They rooted for Jamaica. They rooted for all black people. They was rooting for all the black people that they was competing against. But none of them showed them the same energy. Like the Jamaican team wasn't rooting for us. The Haitian team wasn't rooting for us. Like no other black people from any other landmass was rooting for America. But we, here in America, we rooting for our brothers and sisters no matter where you at. We team us. But the sentiment didn't get reciprocated. Like we gotta stop that, man. All this division amongst us. Like we all one. Because they definitely don't care about us. Because, the way they see us as all one. Why are we divided? Other than that, though, it was a pretty good event. I'm happy for my brothers and sisters that placed. They got, you know, they got their gold, bronze, whatever. If it pleases the creator, they can do it again the next time they hold them. They make the Olympics again and do it all over again. And, you know, they definitely made history this year. But as I said, we had like some really devastating, groundbreaking things that has changed the landscape of, you know, of our world here in America. Like, we can't even be in the comfort of our own homes anymore. Like, that's just, I don't know. That's something like the super big picture. Like, I just can't believe nobody picked up on that. Nobody just, it didn't register like, dang, let me use my platform when this microphone gets in my face, you know, to put the focal point back on the home fire. But like I said, you know, to each their own. Everybody had a reason to do what they was doing. But, you know, I just feel we got to keep a more united front when we're abroad. The pressure is definitely on us to represent when we're abroad. Well, that's it and that's all. Thank you all for listening. Tune in this weekend for a full edition of the Narrator Podcast. And now the only difference between the weekend and the weekday edition is my weekend edition has more sections. My weekday edition only has 2 sections, is the positive news article and the commentary. So I got a few more sections during the weekend, and the positive news articles are replaced by me highlighting black-owned businesses instead of positive news articles, or as I call it, original people-owned and operated businesses, and then a few more sections onto that. I still do my commentary on, you know, whatever is, you know, any type of breaking news, but I got some more sections on my weekend section. I got a spotlight section, a health and wellness section, and then I think I close it out with wise word of the day. But that's the key differences between the weekend and the weekday section. But whichever one is more convenient for you as the listener, feel free to join me this weekend for a full edition of the Narrator Podcast. Or tune in for the rest of this week for more weekday uploads of the Narrator Podcast. Just remember to download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrator Podcast wherever you get your podcast information from. The best way to stay up to date with the latest episodes of the Narrator Podcast is to follow me on YouTube or follow me on X. If you follow me on YouTube, I'm Halsey Allen on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, notification bell, notification all, and you will be informed on the latest episode of my Narrative Podcast episodes. All you got to do is go to my videos and you'll see the most recent uploaded episode of the Narrative Podcast. Or you can follow me on X. I stay good at Halsey Allen on X, and you will be fully aware of the latest episode of the Narrative Podcast. You want to follow me on either of those two mediums, because after I'm done recording, my episodes get automatically uploaded to those two platforms. If you see it anywhere else, it's because I had to manually do it. But the link appears on YouTube and X as soon as I'm done recording automatically. So yeah, follow me on YouTube, follow me on X for the most recent upload of the Narrator podcast. And another way you can help my platform is just to download the episodes and then share them across, all digital platforms. And then hit that heart-shaped like button. And then, you can also leave me a comment as well. That all helps the algorithm. And the best place to do all those options that I just named is to follow me on X. Because when you click on the link on X, you will see, the Narrator podcast. You'll see it right. You'll see the whole platform. You can see all those options that I just named. The download button, the little arrow pointing down, the heart-shaped like button, and then also the box where you can leave me a little comment, and then the little three bubbles on the side. You can share them to whatever platform you want to share them to. But if you don't do any of those other options, make sure you do the download. That helps the best. Download this episode and our previously recorded episodes of the Narrator podcast. The next project that I want to plug is my book of poetry titled The Black Card. It's a 30-page book of poetry, and what it's about is an all-encompassing look at us as a people. It's basically captures, everything we've gone through as a people, both positive and negative. It's essentially a snapshot of us as a people, a how-to guide / survival guide, and you can pick it up in the virtual online bookstore of poetizer.com. Go to poetizer.com. They have a virtual online bookstore. And if you're unfamiliar with poetizer.com, what it is, it's a platform for novice writers, writers of all genres at the unprofessional level, like people that's trying to, write professionally, but for the writer that's just starting out. It caters to all genres of writing, novels, short stories, essay writing, even journal writings are welcome on that platform. But the main accepted writing style is poetry. It's in the name, Poetizer. The name implies it. But yeah, that's what Poetizer is. And what they have for the people active in that community is an option where they can turn their work into an actual book. And so that's what I did in that community. I turned my poetry into a book. They have a virtual online bookstore for members of that community to, turn their work into a book. So go to poetizer.com, go to their virtual online bookstore, and look for my title, The Black Card, and purchase that. It'll make a good gift, coffee table read, travel book, chillax book, but definitely go get that. Go get your copy of the Narrator podcast today, or get your Black Card revoked. Black Card, poetizer.com, get it. Last but not least, I have a personal poetry blog on blogger.com. It's called Hallzies Poetry Corner. You can support that simply by visiting the link at www.mrhallziesblogs.com and sharing the link or a poem featured on Hallzies Poetry Corner across all platforms. Then you can also hit the heart-shaped like button and leave me a comment as well. And, the reason why you would want to check it out is because, the poetry on there is really versatile. All the poems that I wrote there are fresh and inspirational. I wrote them on the spur of the moment. I didn't contemplate on the title, subject matter, or nothing. They're just spontaneously written. That's a really surprising thing about the poetry on there. Because my poems are on there are so detailed, so intentional, so specific. Like every poem is so specific, you would just really be under the impression that, I drafted them before I posted them, but I actually didn't. I wrote everything off the cuff. I didn't contemplate on what I was going to title each piece, what each piece was going to be about. I just did it. So that's the cool, unique thing about my poetry blog. Another thing is all the poems are like really diverse and versatile. So anybody from any walk of life that can enjoy it and can relate to them, and the entire poem will resonate with you, or like a passage out of one of the poems will resonate with you. Now I do have like a dozen or so, a little over a dozen poems that just are specifically for our community, original people, but the bulk of them, like anybody can read them, anybody can relate to them. But check that out, Hallzies Poetry Corner, www.mrhallziesblogs.com. Share either the link to Hallzies Poetry Corner or a poem featured on Hallzies Poetry Corner across all platforms. Leave me a comment, hit the little heart-shaped like button. Go check it out today. You'll love it. My tagline for that blog site is Hallzies Poetry Corner, poetry with a passion, poetry for all occasions. When you read one of my poems, you will see that, it lives up to that tagline. But go check it out. Share, like, leave me a comment. All that helps. Hallzies Poetry Corner. Well, that's it, and that's all. This episode of the Narrator Podcast is officially a wrap. Join me this weekend for a full episode of the Narrative Podcast, and for the rest of this week for more episodes of the Narrative Podcast. I might do just 2 more this week, but definitely a full one this weekend. Thank you all so much for supporting. Thank you all so much for listening. Sending you love, light, healing energy over, yourself, your finances, and everything you got going on in your life. Just bear with me, family. We're turning the corner. Big, huge changes around the corner for me. Big, huge changes around the corner for you. We're in this together. We will change the narrative together. I'm Halsey Allen. I'm changing the narrative one episode at a time. I'm asking you to help me change the narrative by becoming a narrator. And while I'm changing the narrative one episode at a time on my end, as a narrator, you can help me change the narrative on your end one social media post at a time. Until next time, Halsey Allen, the Narrative Podcast, signing off. And it's like that.
You are now listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.